Hello and welcome everyone to Podcast Americano. This is your host Ahmed Rahimi, and today we'll dive into the lives of Bahraini filmmakers to hear some of their stories, experiences, problems, and the solutions regarding the film industry here in Bahrain. Without further ado, let's start right away. Hello everyone again. I'm joined by the one and only, the amazing director Mohamed Fakhro. For those who don't know Mohamed Fakhro, quick fact or recap, let's say. I had a competition called In Just the Company program, and after we finished it, I wanted to do a documentary movie. And I talked to many studios, and he was the only one to grant me, let's say, a Zoom meeting to talk about movies, how is it done, what I have to do. And fast forward this year, that was I think 2 years ago, fast forward this year, I went to short film screening, and I wanted to see your film called. Yeah. And to my luck, I reached at the ending of...
Oh, you never seen it properly still? Oh, wow.
I reached at the credits. Oh. So after the film, I went to talk to him, and he was like, "You're the documentary guy." I'm like, he remembers me.
Of course.
It was a moment which I'll never forget. So he's a film director, producer. Tell us more about yourself, your name, degree, your occupation.
Sure. So my name is Mohamed Fakhro, as you know, and I am a film director essentially, but I do produce as well. I do a little bit of writing, but essentially I am focusing more on film directing.
Film directing.
Yes. I went to film school in Paris for a year in 2016, and ever since that I came back to Bahrain and we started Blue Steel Films.
Why film? Like, why did you want to become a director? Is it something you, let's say, decided from a very young age, or is it something in your 20s or so you decided, okay, I want to be a film director?
No, I think, since I was a kid, I always, used to love watching movies, specifically films that are made in the West. And I always thought about the idea of, pursuing filmmaking, but I never took the chance until the age of 30. So at the age of 30, I decided to quit my job at the bank where I was working to go to Paris and study film.
What was the moment which you're like, okay, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna pursue
I think when you look back, or like when you tell yourself 20 years from now, when you look back, what are you gonna look back on and be proud about? And I enjoyed working in the bank, but it definitely wasn't what I wanted to do forever, that's for sure. And even before pursuing film, I even then didn't know if I was gonna be good enough to be part of this industry. So there was still a big question mark when I was studying filmmaking, whether or not am I going to pursue this, am I going to be good at it, am I making the right decision going, and you obviously have all these questions in your head. But so for me, I truly believe that if you do have enough passion for something, you can't help but be good at it. So yeah, that's
I like that.
I hope that answers your question.
That does. So you have talked about, let's say, how you got into the film industry. Was there a moment where you were, let's say, about to give up? Like, okay, this is too much, or this is not what I signed up for?
Yeah, there are definitely moments where, you think to yourself, especially during hard times. And when I was making my short film in Paris, my student short film, there were definitely moments where it was getting really, really tough. And you ask yourself, like, am I fit for this kind of career, this kind of industry. But they were very, you know, those feelings were very short-lived because, you know, as I progressed and as you know, I went forward with the entire, you know, journey of film. I realized more and more that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Inspiring, I would say. Since you have a production house and you have helped in movies, whether creating them or, as you said, helping create them, what would you say are the regular obstacles which face a Bahraini filmmaker here in Bahrain? يعني?
You want to know the most common obstacle?
Yeah.
Money.
I knew it. Why is it an obstacle? Like we have the power, we have the youth, we have the hungry people who want to do this. You know, we have many filmmakers in Bahrain.
Yeah.
Why today in 2022 we have problems such as, let's say, the budget or the money? Why is it a thing?
Because we don't have an industry in Bahrain. In order to get proper budgets for projects, you need to have an industry because, you know, like the whole industry works like a cycle, and if that cycle is not turning with you know, with any like financial stimulation, it's hard to get a good budget for a short film because, you know, you have to keep in mind that with short films, there is no return on investment. There is no, there's very little, you know, incentive for the investor to put his money or her money into the project, knowing the fact that they're going to see zero return. So, especially when it comes to short films, it's quite tough to get a good budget because you know for a fact that's not going to make any money. Whereas as opposed to a feature film or a television series, something that, you know, can be monetized, it would be a lot easier to get investment on those kind of projects because they have, you know, return on investment. And also as well, when you are producing here in Bahrain, you know, you have to go through a lot of permits and approvals, and, you know, if you have certain things coming from outside of Bahrain through customs, or if you're shooting in a public area, we would need to have, you know, a more concrete foundation slash structure. So for example, a film commission, you know, we would need to establish a film commission here in Bahrain in order to facilitate these shoots. I can talk a lot about, you know, obstacles and having a film commission in Bahrain, but yeah.
Then we'll keep the film commission and the obstacles for like
a
separate episode, so we can
we can talk about that on a separate occasion for sure.
How do we make a film industry? Like, as you said, we do not have one in Bahrain. In your opinion, how do we start one? What do we need? What do we require to build up a film industry?
Well, you need a lot of things, and one thing is trying to commercialize on narrative projects. So as soon as you try to commercialize or monetize commercial projects, then you can, you know, you can get the ball rolling, let's say, and slowly but surely, you know, a film industry will be created. But like I said, you would have to have a certain foundation, or a certain type of foundation, and a film commission is definitely one of them. Other than a film commission, you would also need to have sound stages here in Bahrain, which, you know, we don't have any sound stages. So yeah, you know, I guess, I hope that answers your last question.
So we have a lot of things to, let's say,
well, we have a lot of work to do before, you know, we can safely say that we have a concrete film industry in Bahrain. A lot of steps need to be taken before it can actually be that.
But do you think we will reach there, hopefully in 5-10 years?
100%. And I think less than 5-10 years, of course. I think, you know, the country is changing. You know, in the past 2-3 years, there have been a lot more, you know, shoots in Bahrain. There have been a lot more, you know, commercials, promo vids, short films that are being produced. So yeah, there is definitely a growth in all of that, and I see the filmmaking industry, you know, definitely, it's definitely growing.
So that's good. When I graduate,
when you graduate, you'll be ready to go.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So, what is your message to those who, let's say, just graduated or about to graduate, or let's say even thinking of entering this industry?
I wouldn't know what kind of message to give to the, you know, to the Bahraini filmmaker, because there's so many different ways of how to approach this. Do you want to make movies, and do you want to be part of the film industry as a career, you know, where you are working day in, day out, week in, week out, or, you know, are you the type of filmmaker who wants to tackle on, you know, one big project and work on that project for God knows how long, let's say a year or two, and you have this, you know, this burning desire to tell your story, then yeah, you have people. So I guess it depends on the person, you know. So yeah, I guess my message is to, you know, even when you think you're not, you know, that this industry is not the right industry for you, and you feel like you're in a position where it's not working out, or, you know, you just did a project and you think that it sucks, you just have to keep pushing. You know, I really believe that, you know, perseverance, you know, if you just keep pushing and just keep, you know, as long as your heart is in the right place, you should be fine in this industry, and you will, you should, but I'm not saying that it will be fine, because, you know, I don't know, I can't tell the future, obviously, but you just have to have perseverance and passion, and you know, obviously, you know, everyone has their own, you know, everyone's life is different.
You heard it from him, the one and only. For the last question, let us, let's say,
yeah,
move away from the heavy questions. Tell us a weird, or let's say a funny moment which occurred to you during, let's say, filmmaking, or
a funny moment.
Funny or weird moment.
Funny or weird moment. That happened like on set.
Could be on set, pre-production, post-production.
Oh my God! You know, I think there's definitely a lot of things that happened that I definitely wouldn't say on this podcast. But in terms of weird things happening, so luck plays a big role in filmmaking. You know, whether you want to believe that or not, but yeah, luck is. And it can go both ways, you know. You can be extremely, like, it can be very beneficial, or it can, you know, destroy you. So okay, just to let you know, I won't even say which airlines this is, okay. But we had a prop box that was coming from Pakistan to Bahrain, and they built they made all the swords, the shields, the, you know, the torches, the little artifacts that are, you know, that are set in like 1000 BC. Mm-hmm. It was all in a prop box. And this airline company that we used, when the production designer arrived in Bahrain, they gave him the wrong box, and then the prop box just went missing. And on the last day of shooting, 2 hours before we finish, the airport calls and be like, "Hey, we found your prop box," you know, but we've already had shot, you know, all the scenes. So basically that airline company, they lost our prop box on a project that we've been working a year and a half over.
Mm.
And we had to tell the production designer, you know, to just in 3-4 hours, 5 hours maybe actually, before shooting, you're gonna have to create a couple of swords, a couple of daggers, some torches, and yeah, like he was welding, and he got carpenters to come, and it was very, very intense. But obviously, you know, with certain angles and with certain shots, we were able to manage with the props that we made, with Cult I'm talking about, and weird things on set. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird things. So for my other horror film that we did for Cloven, the one that's based off of the folktale of Mahmar, we got a you know, when horses dislocate their shoulder, or when they have a really bad injury, they put the horses down, you know, and then they cremate the horses. They burn them. So I asked somebody, you know, if there's a death of a horse that happens, like, you know, that's obviously we're not gonna kill a horse, you know, but like if there's a death in the horse, before you cremate the horse, you know, chop the front left leg off and bring it to me in a bag, in a cooler box. So because that's what we attached to the actress's leg, you know, so she yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. So we got the leg, and we put the leg in the freezer until shoot day. And then I told the actress, you know, that we're going to be attaching a real horse's leg to your knee. And she was obviously, you know, like, grossed out by it. But she agreed to do it at the end. And I guess, is that considered like a weird
very
thing?
weird.
Yeah? Is that considered weird? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I can talk about a lot of weird things that happened on set. But yeah, we can save that for another occasion. One thing is, when it comes to, like, you know, filming on set, safety obviously is extremely important, and no film, no project is worth anyone's health or safety on set. But yeah, of course, you know, there are a lot of moments during filmmaking where it gets a little bit, you know, harmful or dangerous, and that's why, like I was saying earlier, you know, we don't have the personnel in Bahrain, for example, for stunts, you know, or a stunt safety officer, or a, you know, someone to, you know, supervise, or just to have like someone who's basically experienced when it comes to injuries, you know, on set here in Bahrain. So yeah. Yeah, so going back to, like, you know, the lack of, you know, personnel and resources, yeah, a stunt department / stunt team is essential, you know, when you're doing movies that have action, or, you know, there's shootings or stabbings, or there's a fight scene. Yeah, you really need to have a
stunt team,
a safety officer, or a stunt team there, you know, to make sure that everyone's okay.
We'll add that to the list, so when I graduate, we'll make it
happen. Sure.
Okay, then.
What else do you have? Do you have any more questions?
That's all. For us today.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It was really a pleasure having you today. And of course, also working with you on Convoluted.
Yeah.
It was an honor, both working with you and having you. And
thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully we see you again in another podcast.
Another podcast, yeah.
See you. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Podcast Americano. I'm back here with another guest, but instead of doing it like last time and I spoiled everything, I'm gonna let the mystery man introduce himself. Who are you, mystery man?
My name is Mohamed Sultan. I don't know, who am I?
Who are you? What do you do?
I'm a filmmaker. I do a couple of things. I'm a producer and a director. I write from time to time when I have the time. and currently I'm actually I'm teaching in a university. I didn't tell you about this before I come in here, but I'm gonna start doing that. I actually started. I'm teaching online right now, and I'll be moving to Abu Dhabi very soon, maybe in a month's time.
يعني university in Abu Dhabi ولا?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's really nice. Did you study film or did you study something but end up in film?
My entire education was completely film. And as soon as I graduated from high school, I did a little bit of architecture. I went to the UK to study architecture, but after a year and a half, because I took basically like a double major of architecture and film studies. And then I completely shifted to filmmaking, and just continued. Basically, I got a bachelor in film studies, and I graduated, worked in Bahrain a little bit, and then I got my master's in filmmaking as well in the US.
That's really nice. Why film? Like, why did you decide film? Like, you had architecture. What made you not take architecture and focus on film?
Well, generally, like ever since I was younger, I was really interested in the arts in general. I loved stories. I loved watching movies. So I never thought it was gonna be a career path. Yeah, my entire family, no one got into the arts. Like there was no precedent. So it's not something. And I was really interested in this ever since I was young, but it wasn't really something that I thought I could potentially do as a career. But everything changed when I moved outside of Bahrain. When I went to the UK, I was lucky enough to be able to study there. That's what I was kind of exposed to other fields. Yeah, and that's when I realized, it's not just architecture or business or engineering like how it is in Bahrain. There are a lot of other things you can do and other potential careers that you can delve in.
I like that. Was there a moment moments where you were like, okay, I'm gonna give up. This is too much, or this is not my major?
every film set, basically. No, I think I'm generally. I mean, I like to think that I'm a patient person. Maybe you've seen that on set. I don't know if I don't know how much. I mean, sometimes I lose it a little bit, but in my own way. But I think that's one of the things that I love about filmmaking. It's that I mean, maybe I'm a little bit of a sadistic person. Like I feel like the more painful the production is, or the more painful the project is, the more the more you learn. I think that's just human nature. Like the harder the work is, the more you learn once it's done. So far like being honest, like so far I haven't thought about quitting or giving up.
Are there, let's say, regular or common obstacles in the film industry, especially here in Bahrain? Do we actually have a film industry here in Bahrain?
As far as the industry goes, I mean, it's hard. There's nothing that we could call a film industry here. I mean, to have a film industry, you need an actual infrastructure. You need, you need a foundation. We have the talent. We have production companies who have educated people, but there's no infrastructure to support like an industry, and it takes a long time to do that. We've seen that throughout the history of Hollywood. We've seen that in Europe. It doesn't really come overnight, and the filmmaking scene in Bahrain is relatively new. It's not there are filmmakers coming out here and there. There are some films being made. We don't have many features, and it's hard to say why. I think maybe it could be just and it just could be just economics. There are more people interested in creating and consuming film in other countries than there are in Bahrain. In Bahrain, we like to import most of our entertainment.
Let's say we started a film commission here in Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
What are the major, let's say, people from which background are needed to successfully build and run the film commission?
All kinds of background, all kinds of backgrounds. You certainly need people who are, I mean, not necessarily like educated in film, like academically, but you need professionals from the industry, who know the ins and outs, because there are a lot of aspects of filmmaking. It's not just, the creative side. It's also the managerial side. It's the financial side of things. From production all the way to distribution, we need to have people who are specialized in all these fields. We need people who specialize in fields, not just... Our problem in Bahrain is that with all the creative and talented people we have, most filmmakers generally juggle a lot of jobs. So you'd find a person who does videography and audio and cinematography and like all of that kind of stuff. But when you start specializing in fields, that's when you get really good at it. There are exceptions, of course. There are a lot of talented people who do multiple things really amazingly, but not everyone can do that. And so specialization is definitely the key here. Like, we need a lot of people who are, concerned with like the marketing side of things and also the creative side.
So specialization, everyone, you heard it from him. So specialize in whatever you are, be good at it, and then come talk to us so we can get you something. That's all the questions. We have one last thing. What's your message to, let's say, all the filmmakers or who are aspiring to become filmmakers, or let's say not just filmmaking, who just want to enter this industry? What is your message to them? Did they do it or did they run away?
Don't do that. No, I think I don't know what to say. I think maybe like one general thing. I mean, this is not just for the industry, the filmmaking industry in general, but maybe for all kinds of maybe creative fields or really any field. There's really no shortcut to being successful at anything. It's not like things don't happen overnight. You're gonna have to work hard. The more work you put into something, the most of the time, the better it's gonna be. And yeah, I think it's just a matter of just putting in that hard work and not giving up. You're gonna hit a lot of walls with anything. It's not just the creative world, but we just gotta keep persevering, I guess.
He said it. Keep persevering, and you will get there, hopefully. Thank you, Mohamed.
You're most welcome, man.
Us today. It was a pleasure having you, and it was a pleasure working with you on Convoluted.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
And hopefully we see you again in other projects, and hopefully upcoming podcasts.
Hopefully, man. Definitely.
That was on. So thank you.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
Hello and welcome everyone back to our third and final session with our third and final guest. We're a bit in a different situation here due to certain circumstances, but we should continue still. So, who are you, our third and final guest? Tell us your name.
Mohamed Farid.
Mohamed, what did you study? Accounting.
University of Bahrain, accounting. Graduated 2009.
2009. That's like... Okay, I was still a kid.
That's like 13 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like 5, 6 back then, yeah. Mohamed, why did you... what do you do in the film industry?
Well, I don't work as of now. My professional career was like an interesting roller coaster. I was a banker for 5 years, then I was a university lecturer in Hong Kong, and then I worked at DHL in sales. But now I don't work at DHL, and now I'm a full-time YouTuber and Twitcher, and maybe I might work in a production company for films.
Inshallah. Yeah. Why films? Why did you decide to enter the film world or the film industry?
I mean, I
love cinema. Especially here in Bahrain.
Yeah, I mean, well, in Bahrain, there's not much of an industry, okay, but we try to make one as much as we can. But I love films ever since I was a kid, and you know this. I have a channel on YouTube and an account on Instagram, and I just talk about movies all the time, and I have a passion for them. And growing up watching those films, I I just thought like I want to be part of this. So in my head as a kid, I only thought that you can be an actor. I didn't understand what's a director, what's a producer, what's a script supervisor, what's a script writer, nothing. And then through Movie Convo, my accounts on Instagram and as well my YouTube channel, I met people who have similar interests. I met beautiful minds like Mohamed Fakhro, Ahmed Akbar. I even met you through social media, Ahmed, that you were part of my film. And it's just opened my eyes to that world where simply I want to tell a story. I'm a storyteller. And to be frank with you, I don't think I told this to anyone, but as a kid, I remember on 4th grade or 3rd grade, I was in a government public school, and we always had during the Arabic class, we would write a story. So I would always write stories about monsters and jinn and stuff in the sea. And my teacher used to say like, you're a very good storyteller, like try to tell the story in 6 pages. And as a kid, like it was very difficult, but I remember vividly, like even my dad said like, wow, that's great, but like as long as it does not interfere with your studies. So growing up now, I feel like making a film, I can tell a story my way, but visually, and it's very interesting and it's very hectic, but it's just all about storytelling, man, in a nutshell. Yeah.
Storytelling. And honestly, it's been an honor to work with you on your movie, to see your story.
The honor is all mine, baby. And you know the story, but don't tell anyone until we finish.
Inshallah. Were there a moment where you're like, okay, let's say the movie industry isn't mine, I'm just gonna focus on my career, which is like, let's say, as sales?
I always had those thoughts. Like before opening my YouTube channel and Instagram, I was lucky in my professional career. Like, every job I get, good income, good company, a good country to live in. But there was always something missing. Wallah, like I don't want to sound so romantic or like such a dreamer or like someone talking out of La La Land, but this is the truth. Like, and I reach a point in your life where you have to make a decision. So for me, the opposite happened. Like I was very blessed in my professional career, but I made the decision to leave that, like leave sales in DHL and focus on being a filmmaker and as well as social media influencer, which is movies, which is I talk about movies. So in that world. So for me, it was always passion over logic at times. Well, yeah, passion over logic.
Passion.
You can make that as a quote.
Mohamed Fakhro also said passion.
Really?
He said,
okay.
Wallah, he said passion is the key.
I think passion is the key word.
What would you say are the regular obstacles in the industry, especially here in Bahrain?
Money. There's difficulties in getting funding, honestly speaking. Of course, there are certain companies like Blue Steel that is owned by Ahmed Salahuddin and Mohamed Fakhro and Zohaib. They get the support for equipment and stuff, but like it's not cheap to make a film. And of course, you can make any film with any budget that you have. You can make a film even with 200 BD, but will that quality satisfy you as a filmmaker? And even if you seek for money, you try to get money, you get peanuts. You get nothing. And the funding goes just to other TV shows and, other stuff that is in the same repetitive style of Bahraini TV shows. With all due respect, they have a big audience, but filmmaking, the world of films and cinema, TV is much more than what we get during Ramadan. So the funding does not go to all filmmakers. It only goes to a specific type of projects that is run by a specific group of people. And I know that's the sad reality, and it's very difficult. Like for my film, this, I mean, I got support from Blue Steel, Mohamed Fakhro. But, you know, I paid how much, like 75% out of my own pocket to make a film fully with what I want in my head. And even if you tell my idea to anyone else, like anyone who is not interested in cinema would say like, no, it's not that good. Even if Mohamed Fakhro tells them an idea about like, you know, anything, no, it's not good. But if you have an idea like for a family drama, you know, where the father beats the mother, one father beats the mother, one son addicted to drugs, and one girl is on Snapchat all the time, this would sell, mashallah, subhanallah. So there's no support to, you know, bring our ideas to life, which are out of the box for Bahraini market. And that's the sad part in Bahrain, where you have to look outside. And even looking outside, like in Saudi, Dubai, Kuwait, the market there is saturated. There are so many people, so many talented people to who actually work in this industry. So we just struggle, man. Like I say this, like we support each other, like, you know, and you saw this with your own eyes. You saw how we supported each other. Like, you know, my friend came, you even came, people from social media came who even worked for free. And I appreciate this for life. But to be fair, if there was a proper industry, everyone will get paid the right amount, but nobody cares here. And even if they do, it's peanuts, you know, like, so yeah, that's the thing, money.
Okay, now you told us the obstacle. Why does it exist? In your opinion, how can we solve it? Like, how can we take their eyes from the traditional TV shows, the traditional stories which they are telling every year, whether it's Ramadan or not, to the new generation or to the new ideas, new stories, which we are hungry to see, not just in cinemas, but also, let's say, on the small screen.
Fresh blood. New blood.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's it. That's what you need. That you need just to basically, you know, the older generation did so much for a specific period of time, and we appreciate and love what they did for everyone. But it's time to step down and bring in new blood, fresh blood, people with, you know, courage and ambition and vision to tell those stories. You know, not necessarily all drama. I'm not against drama. I love drama. You know, it's just not that kind of a drama that is overly saturated. Like, I am just tired of seeing the TV show Ayal Bujasim, but in a different mask every year. I'm just tired, man. Jarh al-Zaman, one of the greatest Kuwaiti shows of all time that I love. I've seen so many versions of it over the years, and it's the same outline. The same. And even so we need like a new blood as well. This will help with storytelling, help with directing, even the style of directing in Bahraini TV shows. It's the same. Allahumma only change the lens a little bit. The structure is the same, you know, and it's just sad. There are so many passionate, hungry people. I am willing to lead this part for free. I'm willing to do this for free just to give people the money and the chance to tell their stories. You know, Saudi are doing great films now, and they're trying to push to go to the Academy Awards, to the Oscars. Bahrain, what did they do? Bahrain, in terms of film? Where art were actually started here in Bahrain. We were the first in everything, but now we're the last in everything when it comes to art. I remember one time having a conversation with one of the directors, without mentioning, here in Bahrain, and he said long story short, like he said, he does not think science fiction genre is like cinema. Like, no, I don't like science fiction. I don't find that. And I'm like in my head, well, you know what, Stanley Kubrick now is rolling over in his grave, yani, for hearing this, yani, subhanallah, like wallah, like, you know, the work that Stanley Kubrick did in sci-fi, like, you know, even Ridley Scott, Denis Villeneuve, Nolan, even David Lynch, like, subhanallah, it's all down the drain because you don't see this as cinema. And unfortunately, that person is part of that, you know, that group here in Bahrain, that they get the funding for certain stories. And even like, it's just like, I don't want to mention Bahraini films names, but even like if you see the like certain new feature films, even the directing style is just so outdated. It's just crazy. If Quentin Tarantino said it, if you really love cinema, if you love and breathe cinema, you are bound to make a good movie. I just want to be a part of the team or the group that will reshift and change how cinema is perceived in Bahrain, and hopefully we create a proper industry, at least in Bahrain.
Inshallah.
Sorry, I talk too much, man.
No.
Well, yes, young blood like yourself, yeah.
Hashtag young blood. Can you tell us, let's say, a funny or a weird moment which happened to you during your time in the film industry?
Funny moment?
Or a weird moment?
Oh, man. The first movie that I ever been part of is called Window, directed by Ahmed Akbar and wrote by me and Ahmed Akbar and Mohamed Sultan. So imagine this entire film is initially made by 4 people. So me, Ahmed, Mohamed, and Jafar Halwati, which is our DOP, director of photography. And I remember there was a scene in the hospital. And imagine prepping for a scene, only 4 people. Man, that's crazy. So the actress in that scene came on set and brought her baby daughter. And so one of us had to babysit. And guess who was the babysitter? Of course we took turns, but I was the first one. And man, that kid cried. I kid you not, from 7:30 p.m. until she was knocked out by 10:30. I could not let that kid. I went up and down. She was crying, and her mom was shooting a scene and coming back to her, trying and going. It was just terrible. It was just a crazy mess. So that's one part. And in my film, we shot a scene where we flip a car, if you remember, we flipped a car. So because before shooting that scene, we were shooting in a road in an area, and we tried to create smoke, and then one charcoal popped out and made a little fire. And I did not know there was a fire. Nobody told me there was a fire.
I was the one. You were the... Yeah. There's a fire.
And oh my God, nobody told me until it was over, because nobody wanted to stress me out. I was already stressed. And I'm in my head. Oh my God, if the whole thing burned down, I'm dead. And luckily, this, and not to think of it, was funny, but at the same time, it was dangerous. And even how we gonna flip the car in my film, I remember the discussions we had while flipping the car. I remember if we flipped the car and everybody was jumping on the car, yeah, we flipped it. And I'm please don't break the car. Let's just shoot the goddamn scene. It was 4:30 a.m. and I'm tired. And it was just those funny, stressful moments. But I'll tell you, even in the movie Window with the kid who's crying, I would not change a thing. Every moment, every stressful moment was just amazing. And I do understand you as a production assistant, you wanted to do more. I know, I've seen you, but we limited what you guys can do because it's the first time, inshallah, second time, you'll be something. But even witnessing that, it was for me just a satisfaction. Wow, everybody is having fun, a good time. Even Oh yeah,
it was really, really it was my first experience on let's say a movie set. Yeah, and it was just more than I could ever ask for. Wallah, honestly, it was.
And I remember you came you were quiet and you looked grumpy, you did not sleep, and I can tell. Ahmadi, what's wrong with you? I was nothing. Why aren't you as happy? I'm conserving energy. You are tired. I know. But you stayed really quiet. Tired. You just stayed.
Okay, last question before we wrap it up. What is your message to, let's say, all those who want to enter this industry, who are in this industry, who just started, who are, let's say, lost their way or anything like that? What's your message to them?
For anyone who wants to enter this industry, you need to understand that it is not easy. or we'll not say like, we're not saying industry in Bahrain, or just went into the world of filmmaking until we make a proper industry. It is not an easy world. You have to be patient. You have to observe. You have to basically have the utmost passion and love for cinema. Don't go in there because you think it's fun or a way that I can meet chicks. This is not the case, Habibi. Like, I know some people do it just to meet girls. Like, oh, I want to meet a girl. No. It's a hard, grueling work. Be humble. If you want to enter that world, you have to be very honest and clear communication of what you want to know. Even like you want to be a director, communication is key. You will have to make certain sacrifices at the end, at the beginning, in terms maybe you will not get paid, maybe even you'll pay for your own film, or maybe you will do certain things that you don't want to do. Anybody who goes on set, he thinks he wants to be the sound guy or wants to be assistant to the DOP. I understand. I saw it in you, and I love that passion, and inshallah you will. But it just takes like, steps. Like, you need to have passion and patience, and inshallah it will all fall in place. Ya Rab, inshallah.
Passion and patience. You heard it, everyone, from the one and only Mohamed Farid. And that's all we have for today. Thank you, Mohamed, for giving us this chance. It was really wonderful having you with us here today. And we can't wait to see your movie and know about the upcoming projects. So,
inshallah, thank you, Ahmadi, for having me. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Okay, then. See you, everyone. Those were 3 dense yet beautiful sessions with our guests. I hope now you know a thing or two more about our industry here in Bahrain, or shall I call it Pearlywood. Special thanks to our guests for giving me and you their time and voice. Thank you all for sticking around and listening to our podcast. Please like and share to support our channel, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss any of our upcoming episodes, where we bring in more people from the film industry to dwell into their stories as well. But until then, thank you and have a wonderful week.
And this is Mohamed Fakhru, producer of the film.
We support these kind of projects. We support, Bahraini filmmakers or any filmmaker in Bahrain who want to make their films.
I'm one of the producers. I'm also a line producer. I'm the first AD, first assistant director. I'm feeling okay.
Guys, it's a wrap.